When you think of good furry movies, you probably think of something like Zootopia, Robin Hood, or maybe even say Kung Fu Panda.
But for every good furry movie, there's at least 100 that are really bad.
And now we've looked at some truly awful ones in previous episodes of this series. I'm thinking maybe Food Fight and Norm of the North or that animal football one. There's a link to the playlist on screen now.
And once again, we have wasted many hours of our lives watching the films in today's video in order to save you.
We're doing everyone a service.
We are.
And, so let's get to it. Here are some more furry movies that totally suck. As a kid, one of my favourite books had to be Dr. Seuss's Cat in the Hat.
And personally, I always loved the ride at Universal Studios' Island of Adventure in Florida. Not quite the Hulk coaster, but really fun for a distraction.
Definitely. And I've got good memories of riding that one myself when I was younger. And it's also an amazing experience in virtual reality.
Oh yeah.
But hey, we're not here to talk about theme park rides.
There's a future video idea there. Theme park rides that are furry? Let us know in the comments if you'd like to see that.
Still, getting back to movies now, and in the early 2000s, production started on a movie adaptation of Cat in the Hat. Initially set to star Tim Allen, he dropped out because of he had to film Santa Claus 2, and Mike Myers was begrudgingly cast to replace him.
I mean, there's an interesting alternative reality. Tim Allen as the cat.
Releasing here late in 2003, the film was widely panned by critics for a range of reasons, including Mike Myers' portrayal of the cat, a lack of faithfulness to the book, and just the weird sense of humour that this film just had in it.
Oh wow, I mean, in fact, to add further salt to the wounds, following this movie, Dr. Seuss's widow refused to allow its planned sequel, and she even banned any more live-action adaptations. So all future Seuss movies were all fully animated.
So, for those of you who maybe aren't quite as familiar with the story of this movie, it's quite simple. In a nutshell, a troublemaking Cat in the Hat visits the home of two bored kids, Sally and her brother Conrad, while their mum is not home. Despite objections from the family's pet fish regarding the cat's presence, the cat proceeds to just have fun, no matter what the consequences are, or the destruction he makes. Kinda like if you invite the local neighbourhood raccoon into your house. Fun times.
Honestly, from this premise, you question why they could get a movie about this so wrong. But boy did they. I mean, first and foremost, look at Mike Myers.
Total Cats vibes there. You'd think when they produce Cats, they might have learned from this disaster.
Clearly not.
Now, I like Mike Myers. It's definitely in Austin Powers. In fact,
yeah.
Austin Powers is probably one of my favourite movie series. And honestly, I loved Wayne's World.
Yeah.
One, of course, was a lot better than two.
Yeah. But in this film, he just feels, well, really awkward. I mean, the way he acts, the way he delivers his lines, all feels so strange. I mean, even really forced. And the jokes, well, remember that this film was primarily targeted at kids, and it features such amazing one-liners as...
Dirty hoe. I'm sorry, baby, I love you.
Yeesh! Yeah. Now, in Austin Powers, that would have sounded perfectly fine, but here?
Yeah, I mean, there are loads of them throughout this film, and honestly, it just feels a little weird. One of it being the Cat in the Hat and all.
I think it's safe to say that most of what's wrong with this film is probably down to the fact that Mike Myers actually didn't want to be in this movie.
Oh no.
Fun fact, the only reason he was actually in this was to settle a lawsuit between him and Universal Studios, following him pulling out cancelling a previously agreed movie contract with them.
Yeah, I mean, it says everything really. I mean, I also heard that he was a nightmare to work with, and really sassy on set. Well, the kind of bit like me, really, if you don't get the right shaped carrots before we start filming.
So, with our lead actor not wanting to be involved, this film was on the rocks before it even started.
Oh yeah.
And following further conflicts between Hollywood makeup legend Rick Baker, who was originally brought in, and the production team, read Mike Myers,
Oh, yeah.
most of his awkwardness, an alternative was needed to be found to replace Rick Baker. And as we can see, the makeup just wasn't as good as what he probably would have put out.
No. I mean, it's kind of creepy, to be honest.
No surprise that this film was met with terrible reviews and has a score of just 9% from those tomatoes that are rotten, drawing ire from influential people around the movie business, such as Leonard Maltin, who called the film a betrayal of everything Dr. Seuss stood for.
Yeah, I agree with him. My favorite review was from a reviewer of this movie. It has to be...
It's 82 minutes of my life I am not getting back. Truly horrifying in the worst possible ways.
For its lame jokes, poor grasp of the source material, and for having that frankly fucking creepy-ass cat on screen, Cat in the Hat is a furry movie that really sucks.
And then Mike Myers learned from this and never made a bad movie again.
We covered Norman the North in our first ever episode of Furry Movies That Suck, and since its release, Norman the North has racked up 5 sequels.
Wait a minute. How many? 5?
Yes, 5. Yeah, I didn't know that
Holy
myself.
Crap.
They keep churning them out, from just a few 45-minute specials
Wow.
to at least one that saw a limited cinema release in 2019. It seems that despite the franchise being synonymous with being utter shite, there's still money and mileage in the name that Lionsgate want to milk.
I still don't know how. I mean, it's really hard to believe anybody likes this.
I know, right? And there's nothing good in any of these films, and I can't even say my usual yay bears. In fact, I'm actually ashamed to say that my nephews have a DVD of the first movie.
Really?
I think I need to send them a copy of Robin Hood.
Yes, or Zootopia. Oh, God, no. So, now we could have picked any of the 5 movies, to be honest with you, for this episode. I mean, where do we even start? Or stop? In the end, we started on Family Vacation, a 2020 release, which also, like the worst year ever, really, let's be honest, to have any kind of vacation in.
Definitely. Now, by this point, your original voice cast is long gone. Rob Schneider, he got out there what he could. And even Maya Kay, who stuck around for the other films, has gone for this one.
Wait a minute. Who the hell is Maya Kay?
I don't know, but apparently she stuck out for 4 movies.
Well, good for her, whoever she is. Anyway, so the plot of this film, horror. Norm's crown has been stolen. Wait, he had a crown. And feeling a bit overwhelmed by this, in his kingly duties, Norm decides to conveniently tie the search for his missing crown with a family vacation in an attempt to repair his family's fractured relationship.
As you would expect from a movie such as this, this takes up about 2 minutes of the actual runtime. The rest of the 90 minutes the movie runs for is just filled with usual cliches. We've got the family coming together to find the crown. We've got some disagreements here and there, and probably some questionable jokes chucked in to boot as well.
I wouldn't be a Norman the North film without that. In a nutshell, this movie is unbelievably stupid. I mean, it's hard to try and work out why Lionsgate would even remotely take a film that only scored 7% on Rotten Tomatoes and then try and turn it into a massive franchise. I mean, like, say, Madagascar, of course.
And unlike Madagascar, which I'm not a fan of personally, it did have some good jokes and well-designed characters.
Yeah.
This movie and its franchise has absolutely none of that.
The animation for this is one huge step down from the first film. Now, okay, fair enough, the first one had a movie budget, although it looked like crap. But, yeah, this one's starting to verge on Mockbuster territory here.
Honestly, this is just making me angry talking about this film. But I'm sure it'll come to you as no surprise and some relief that this has just been panned by critics everywhere.
Oh, God, yeah.
If you can actually find a review, I've only found like 1 or 2 that were actually willing to even talk about it. But the reviews that we did find, there's a viewer comment with a gem like this.
Let's pray that this is the last Norman the North movie ever made. Literally nobody likes the last 3.
Let's all hope that for everyone's sake, this is the final movie in this cinematic Normiverse.
The cinematic Normiverse? Oh,
Yeah.
that's a bad pun.
I've legitimately seen people use this to describe it.
Oh, dear me.
I know.
Well, for it having no reason to exist and just being an absolute waste of everyone's time and resources, Northern North Family Vacation is a furry movie that sucks.
Oh god, I feel so sorry for you polar bear furs out there. I really do.
It's a tradition of my Furry Movies That Suck episodes to feature at least one Mockbuster type movie. And of course, this episode is no different.
Produced as a quick cash grab, of course, targeting people maybe not paying attention to buying movies in the bargain bin of Walgreens, these films were never intended to be good.
And whilst other movies are amusingly bad because of set trouble, bad makeup, things like that, these films are just bad because no one cares.
No one gives a crap. I mean, introducing, oh god, Life's a Jungle, Africa's Most Wanted.
Attempting to jump in on the Madagascar hype of the early 2000s,
Here we go
2012's Life's a Jungle is a low-budget, clearly low-effort movie revolving around lead character Pip, a dog who is a somewhat buff-looking character with weirdly human-esque arms, who finds himself one day lost in the jungle all alone when he gets separated from his wealthy family.
Well, anyway, and with the first dialogue of the movie being this.
Isn't this great, my boy? I told you it would be fun.
Oh my god, you know you're in for a good time.
Well, as you'd expect from a film such as this, the story is about as predictable as they come, with the dog making friends with the animals in the wild, searching to find his family, and then ending with some really lame and pathetic moral where the dog learns that he doesn't need his family, makes friends with the wild animals. Oh, and just to boot, the protagonists in this are like some angry rhinos and crocodiles who don't like the dogs might eat their food. Yeah.
Oh boy, anyway, the movie has a runtime of a whopping 102 minutes, which, granted, for any normal film isn't a problem, but for this one, on the other hand, well, it just feels about 100 minutes too long. I mean, much of the film is made up of slow, badly animated moments where the characters just stare into the void. I understand them having the whole "the animals don't talk to humans" concept. However, with the poor animation of the models there, there's just there's no reasoning. Without dialogue, it's hard to tell what's actually even going on. And this is just one example. The film's chock full of them.
It's just one awkward scene after the next. The poorly animated models have no expressions. They even struggle to dance. I mean, look at this bit.
I took issue with the scaling here. I mean, look at the size of that panther. It's just comical.
If the bad animation and voice acting hasn't quite put you off this movie yet, how about the sound effects? I mean, look at this fight scenes ones. Have we never heard an alligator? What the fuck is going on here?
I mean, we also cannot ignore the background music. Half of it is bad 70s porno music. Half of it is just my first Casio keyboard. Whoever made this clearly just pressed some random demo keys and stuck it in the movie. It's really jarring and poorly mixed in, often coming in way louder than it ever really should be.
I mean, not of course that's going to ruin the movie experience for you, because this film was ruined before you even sat down and pushed that play button.
I think maybe the only thing the movie gets right is this reenactment of how our camera bird takes our food.
What is it with the bird sound effect? And why was the sandwich shiny? It also comes as no surprise that the reviews online for this are not kind to it. There's gems like this one.
Oh my god, it's so unbelievably bad. I can't even put words that describes the terribleness of this movie. I quite frankly don't know what to say.
With its just dreadful animation, sound effects and vocalizing, Life's a Jungle is just a movie that, oh god, it really sucks.
The whole film's on YouTube, by the way, should you want to see it for some reason. I do not advise that, though.
Masochists, Anyway, would you really, really want to do that to yourselves?
Well, someone put it up. So, there we go. Those were a few more furry movies that really suck. What furry movies do you think suck? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please click that like button, hit that subscribe button, and ring that notification bell so you'll always catch our latest videos. This channel is kindly supported by our patrons, and if you'd like to help support us too, there's a link in the description below. Or, why not even check out our merchandise store? There's a link to that down there too. I'm Shadow Raccoon.
And I'm Theodore Rabbit.
And we'll see you next time. Bye everyone.
Bye.